Oh, excuse me. Sorry, everybody. Oh, I can't talk all of a sudden. Welcome back, everyone. That was the best. That was the best intro ever of all best intros. Welcome, everybody. Here we are for some more chess. It's been a little while. I've been on vacation, and as you may or may not be able to tell, I've been sick. And I wanted to kick back with one that's a little bit more simple, so hopefully we can get through it without too much ado, and hopefully you guys will still enjoy this one. So I am down here, as I always play from the bottom, as black, and today we're going to be doing some French defense. And he's off with king, blah blah blah, knight, and stuff. And then he takes, which it's a little unusual. I always feel like when I go as black in these various defenses where I offer up a pawn in the middle, it usually just stays there. There's just this tension for a while until eventually everyone's happy with what they've done, and then maybe something gets taken or pushed. I feel like recently people have just been taking stuff more often, and that's kind of cool. That generally favors the person who didn't take it first, if that makes sense. In this case, me, generally. But whatever, I don't really care. It's even enough. It's not like I'm super high-level professional or anything where something like that actually matters. So he proceeds to develop out with common moves. I just match him like a mirror, don't really care. Puts his horse out. I decide to pin it. Pin things. He pops it out, and I probably could take it at this point, but I've had some unfortunate unhappiness. Oops, wrong ones. When people get their pawns there to block this, it's like, yay, doubled pawns, yay, mess everything up, yay, make it look ugly, yay, don't push the c-pawn. But then when my horse goes up here, all of a sudden he's not really able to do anything because of the pawn that gets pushed. So I don't want to take it at this point. I mean, I know at the end of the day it's not a big deal, but it's been happening relatively more recently because I've been taking horses more often, and I'm just getting more frustrated by it more often because of it. It clearly has not inhibited me. But anyway, so I bounce around, he chases me out, I bounce around some more, and all of that mess gave him a nice little opening. Sure, I've got it defended, and he's defending this piece, and I'm defending this piece here, so surely it's still good, right? There's no way he could actually take that with the horse and then, oh, whoops, nope, that doesn't work. Or if he takes it with the horse, it's okay because I've still got it. Because oh well, no, that's not. I mean, maybe, I suppose it'd be really hideous, and I wouldn't like it. But I guess technically I'm going up, so it feels like it's a bad spot. And sure, I could just try and push it away, but I don't want to do the same thing he did on the queen side, and open up some extra holes there. So. I just decide that of the two ways I can defend this, I can put a bishop here or I can put a pawn here. Neither of them are very attractive, neither of them are very optimal. The pawn will block my horse in from its optimal square, therefore I need this to be open for both of my pieces to develop out into. But the bishop going there and sitting next to a pawn like that, like you want them to go with your bishop on top, so you can see them work in long diagonals that they both defend each other. When the bishop is on the bottom like that, it's defending the pawn, but, okay, pretend this guy doesn't exist. The pawn's not defending it back like it is when it's the other way around. So it's not nearly as ideal, and then it just means that my bishop is essentially not able to accomplish anything else there until something else moves, and you don't really want to do that. So I decided to go with the pawn. It looks a little bit cleaner, and that gives my bishop still free range to maybe do some counter pins, or at least get into play somewhere where maybe he can be more beneficial somewhere else. Maybe I can move him up here and then plop him down there and make a nice line the whole way through. Maybe I can do that instead. Granted, his horse is on it, so I'd have to fix that at some point, but I just felt like it was a little bit cleaner. He unfortunately blocks that plan off right at the start, so I decide just to castle. When both of our kings have an open file like that, I don't want something silly or whatever, something going in the middle and making me have to do this anyway, to block the check without, because obviously you don't want to move your king, you want to still be able to castle. So I'll just castle a little bit, and it's not early. This is, what move is this? Move 12, move 9, I don't know. But it was the time to castle. So he clears up a little bit of space so that he can do that as well. And I'm going to start now trying to scare the bishop away. I know it's not going to... Wait, what? Huh. So this is where sometimes things are interesting. I'm not very good at speed chess. In fact, I'm pretty awful at speed chess. And I feel like he just had this plan in his mind of, I'm going to take a turn to move this bishop out, and then I'm going to castle, and just didn't see that I was pushing this. But I'm playing correspondence chess right now. He had at least a month and a half to look at that board, and he chose to castle. So that's... I feel like he just forced a habit. He was in this plan. You know, maybe he was really busy when he went to the game and was like, oh yeah, that's right, I just wanted to castle, and just didn't really look. It definitely is a blunder in his regard. I don't know. He just straight missed it, I guess, and it's unfortunate. So I don't like having the nice opening to my king, but because he's castled, his rook is no longer in the corner to capitalize on it. And certainly when you can get a free bishop, or at least a close to free bishop, you definitely want to be able to take that opportunity when you can, unless it gives you something very, very indefensible right afterward. But it doesn't, in this case, give me any major hole that I can't otherwise come out of. So I go ahead and take that blunder bishop, and instead of taking it directly back, freeing up a little bit of space and maybe making some sort of counterattacks in the near future in this new opening that I have, he decided to push and block it as if I was going to go after his horse or something. I'm not quite sure, but it does proceed to open up his area a little bit as well. I'm not sure I realized that yet, or I'm not sure I thought to take advantage of that yet, but I will. So now that I'm up a little bit of material, I'm going to decide that now is a good time to trade some pieces. Granted, he's fully developed. He's got all of his stuff out. His major pieces are connected. His pawns are kind of ridiculous all over the place, but I've still got two things that need to get out and get doing something. I've barely moved anything. So if not for this little blunder, I'd kind of be a little bit behind. I definitely am behind in time, but I've been more efficient with mine at least. So if I can trade away some of these pieces that are currently active and developed, my lack of development will go away a little bit, and my piece advantage by taking his bishop will increase in value the more simple the board is. So that's kind of my thought and hope with that as well. In a worst case scenario, or not a worst case scenario, in another step down the line, now I can chase his horse away because he's going to respond by taking it. I'm going to respond by taking that back. So I get to chase it away. By me moving my horse, I'm now defending this pawn, which originally, when he pushed, it wasn't defended. So that was kind of another ulterior motive with it. The horse and the queen were defending it once I moved it over there. And so therefore now his horse can't go here, can't go here. I guess it could go there. It can't go there. It could go there, but then it's blocking this that he wants, and I've got a couple pieces attacking it. Going there is pretty bad. Can't go there. He could go there. So really, he's kind of got three spots, it looks like, where he could pick. Two of them are really bad. One of them, I don't know. I haven't really looked at it. I don't really plan to look at it because it's not important to me, because he goes all the way back, which is really, really good in the sense that because I'm undeveloped with pieces still sitting on home row, he spent time developing his pieces and then spent more time undeveloping them, and is going to therefore have to re-spend even more time developing it yet again, but now I've got it blocked in, so it's not going to happen for quite some time. So now all my theoretical loss in space and time is totally mitigated. I was able to make up for all of that by having him get chased away where he decided to chase it away too. I've got two pieces now bearing down on this. I could take it with the bishop and threaten his rook. You know, maybe I don't know where he goes, and maybe I can then decide to move my bishop over here and attack a piece and see if I can't force in some sort of extra trades, simplify the board a little bit more if we can trade queens at that point. Or I could just straight take it with the queen, see if we can't trade queens, because then I'm still going up a pawn. I'm clearing up a little bit of extra space. It really could work either way, and I decided to take it with the queen first. Excuse me. just in case. And at some point around here, whether I saw it when I made that specific move with the queen instead of the bishop or not, he's going to decline the trade, is when I realize I'm going to start taking advantage of this open space that I see over here on this side. Because if I can get this bishop down here, which obviously is not going to be very difficult, queen on that square is checkmate. And there's not a whole lot of fancy ways he can defend it, because the horse will just get taken. A rook is going to take forever before it actually gets over there. So it's interesting enough to me for now, where I don't care to continue going for that trade. I'm up already. I'm going to actually see if I can just go for a quick win. He proceeds to try and move around things. He's going to try and see what he can do to block it off, or maybe he doesn't see that there's a threat right here yet, and he's just trying to activate his pieces and put his knight somewhere else. Not quite sure. There's a couple of ways I could go about it. Moving my bishop down immediately is the most obvious thing in the world, and it pretty much just says, hey, I'm going to rob you, so please give me everything, and just like, or, please, I'll give you 10 minutes to get a head start and run away, or something like that. It's super telegraphed. It's kind of not the best thing in the world. So I was thinking maybe I could do just like a distraction play, maybe move my rook over just to get him to spend a turn moving his queen one way or the other, just to have like a break in the concentration of, hey, I'm aligning multiple pieces on a particular diagonal that happens to be open. Hey, look, there's a shiny object in the middle, kind of deal. But I decided I don't really want to go for it. He'll put his queen there, and maybe by being on this square, it'll help him out. I wasn't quite sure. If I was to play the game again, I probably would do it. But in this particular case, I went against it. I just went right for it. I always go for the entrees first when it's Thanksgiving dinner. I want my freaking turkey, and then I'll get some taters with gravy and whatever else there is. Oh yeah, a lion's lost. That's what there is on Thanksgiving. Ah, yes, of course. His real only way of blocking it, because now it's mate in 1, it doesn't matter what he's really able to do anywhere. So he's got one option, and that's put the pawn here. There's a couple ways I can go about it. I could throw my pawn up here, defended by the queen, and then it gives it a fantastic one square push into being defended while going after two pieces at the same time, which would just be very strong. Even if he takes, then I'm just still gaining more material. I could also en passant and take that. I don't have the defense with the fork at that point, but it keeps this space clear. Whereas if I take it here, this space isn't clear anymore, so maybe he decides just to sacrifice pieces just to block off the advancement of the pawn and then shut down the lane. Maybe he takes it with the horse because it's defended by the rook, and then I am kind of pretty much stifled at that point. So I feel like if you're just talking one turn move, I think this is better. But I chose en passant partially because of the novelty of it, and partially because it keeps the space clear. So this way my threat is still in play. I'm still attacking some pieces as well that he has to respond to. So he takes it with the rook, which does also free up one square for him to run away to, which is all he could really get at this point. And that's all he technically needs in order to not lose. So he runs away, and here's where maybe things could go a little bit better for me. I was trying to win quick, and so now the natural next play is to move my queen to this square and go down this line. He can't move his king here. All he can do is move it to that square. And then there's a handful of other things you could do. You could proceed to trade with the queen. You could proceed to bring your bishop over, put him back in check, and make him bounce around and see if you can figure something out, because you can very easily get a rook over to here, and just see if maybe you can figure some other things out depending on where he wants to play, how he wants to move. But I thought, well, maybe if I just bring my bishop here first and then I put my queen over, it can just be checkmate because he won't have that square to run away to. So it gives him a turn, but it gives him very limited opportunities as opposed to me just going for it and controlling it and making him get stuck. So I think I ended up taking the lesser of good plays in this regard. I think moving the queen first is probably better. I don't know for sure, but I didn't. I went with the bishop first, which gives him a couple opportunities. I believe he could actually just move his king here. Well, if he moves his king here, I can move over. He has to move down there. I can move over here. No, he doesn't have to move his king down there. Hold on. If he moves his king, I move my queen. He could put his bishop or his rook up there, actually, and block things off. I guess if he moved the bishop, I still put him in check. If he moved his rook, then my queen is in danger, but I just take his horse. In reality, it doesn't matter at this point. I'm up by so much. I'm gonna get pieces at this point. So there's no. This is a Reese's chess match. There's no wrong way at this point for me to eat it up. So he opts to defend with the horse by putting it in the way. And I could try and get some additional pressure, could try and figure some things out. I'm going to decide just to start attacking the piece so that when I put my bishop here, I'm still blocking the square off and I've got some defense on it. His response is to drop all the way down with the queen to defend the horse as best he can, as well as really just defend everything. But he can't go any further, and going any less might not necessarily help, because then I don't know, whatever, sick brain right now. However, by taking his pieces off and creating lots of extra space on this back row, that does give me a rook. So that at that point I am gonna at least capitalize and take something while I can. His king has to move out, and I will take the rook for it. Not sure what the pawn move is at this point. It's zugzwang. I don't know what you do if you were him. I don't want to even think about what he could possibly do. I don't really care what he could do. Maybe he's thinking it's a queen trade. I'm not sure. I am going to accept it at this point, because at this point I'm also just going to straight up trade a whole bunch of pieces. I still haven't moved 3. I haven't moved essentially half of my pieces yet. I'm not sure how I was this successful with terrible development, but I guess he just had some holes and some openings, and I took advantage of them. So I'm going to take this queen trade right now. He'll respond taking it right back. That's fine. I'll trade another minor piece. He blocks, or he takes it right back, and then trade major pieces, and we complete that. So at the start of when I moved my queen up here and had potential to do things, I was up this initial bishop, and then I was up a horse that had been kind of bounced around, I believe. I was up at least the bishop, but now at the end of everything, I'm up a horse and a rook, and I think a pawn as well. So while I didn't get a quick checkmate, I managed to at least not walk away with nothing. And so now we're just going to kind of create a little bit of space, block off all of his squares, develop my pieces, get something going in here. And now that everything's kind of out there, I just need to find a way to get something developed, or get something promoted to a queen as fast as possible, really. Maybe I'm targeting a square or something like that. I'm really just trying to keep pushing all of my pieces down forward, making him push his pieces backward as best as I really can. See if I can't get them out of the way. Now his king is stuck on this half of the field because my rook is just going to block that off completely. So now I only have to focus on this stuff where I have a piece and a pawn and a king of advantage. So I'm going to start working my way toward with that now. On this half, I don't really care what's going on. I will just continue to keep trading it. Big deal. As I start or continue to go along with my plan. He wants to keep trading. That's fine. You can essentially remove these pawns from the board. Neither one of them will ever get promoted. So don't care. And at this point, I'm just going to try and exert my will. I could continue to push and maybe would be more productive or more progressive. But the thought of just having this long, hard structure straight in front of a king, just this P formation, I couldn't pass it up. I had to. I'm sorry. Triple pawns. So now they're doubled for forever, but I don't really care. He opted to take with his piece. He probably at this point was just hoping for a stalemate. Whatever, I don't care. Now my only goal is to get these pawns promoted into queens, and I need to do that really as fast as I can. So I'm moving my rook down here so that I can defend this square, so I can put my rook on this square, and therefore my rook will guard all of that. He'll never cross, so he can't get to the horse. And then because the rook or the horse is guarding the rook, he'll never be able to kill the rook, therefore he can't even remotely get to the pawn. So that's just, he's really stuck. I had to move the horse out of the way anyway. So I just made a nice little combination to just seal everything off, and now it's just getting queens, and then once you get queens, just move pieces until he can't play anymore. And that is the game, ladies and gentlemen. So it was a little bit easier this time. There was that quick blunder early, and then I was just kind of simplifying pieces down from there, and he got stuck in a real bad spot. On the same token, I've mentioned it before, I was pretty fortunate how I didn't develop half of my pieces essentially the entire game. Part of that may be good fortune that I was able to be successful. Part of that, I guess, really was just his mistakes and me being able to attack efficiently and significantly in threat enough where I guess I didn't have to, but generally you're going to have more success when you get more pieces out there. So that probably could have gone a little bit better, but at the same time, it was a pretty overwhelming win. So I'm just being Bill Belichick over here and finding something to complain about to keep pushing to being better, and that is really the goal at the end of the day. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I apologize about my voice. I apologize that it's been essentially 2 months since I uploaded a video. It gets pretty tough. Hopefully I'll be more consistent from now on, and I will hopefully see you guys in the very near future as well. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to check out my other videos, Twitch channel, etc. Blah 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 blah. And have a good one, everybody. Peace.